The doors of Castlevania have reopened, giving gamers another chance to jump into the world of monsters and vampires. While the series is undoubtedly regarded as a classic, its 3D adventures have been hit or miss. Konami has tried to slay this problem by bringing back some of the best elements from prior Castlevania games, and adding some new features that haven't been seen before. Curse of Darkness strays from the Castlevania storyline that traditionally follows members of the Belmont bloodline.
I was expecting someone else.
The game's hero is Hector, a former devil forge master who trained under Dracula. When his love Rosalie is falsely accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake, Hector seeks revenge against the man behind her trial, Isaac, who is also a forge master. The story is the type of backdrop one would expect from a Castlevania game. The cutscenes look great, but can get sparse and melodramatic.
That matters not!
The combat in Curse of Darkness is solid and simple, utilizing 2 buttons. While you primarily wail on the attack button, the finishing button can form combination moves that vary depending on your weapon. You can lock onto an enemy, but you may not want to. You have very little control over the camera, so enemies can drift out of view, or it can be difficult to keep your attack positioned properly. This gets frustrating, especially in a tense boss battle. There are 4 types of weapons Hector can utilize. He can find new weapons, purchase them, or in a new feature for Curse of Darkness, he can forge them himself. You can combine existing items to create new, more powerful weapons. This can be fun. However, many of the weapons you create are fairly useless, except for the sake of variety. The ability to create weapons helps keep Curse of Darkness interesting, but it barely has anything to do with finishing the game. Hardly any of the weapons are specifically needed for beating enemies, and the trade-off between control and power is too large for many of the weapons, making the stronger weapons annoying to deal with. Innocent Devils are another example of a new feature that's enjoyable but not fully realized. As a devil forge master, Hector is able to summon these creatures to help him in his quest. Innocent Devils come in 3 forms: fairy, battle, or bird. Each have their own abilities, and as they gain crystals from experience, they will evolve and gain new powers. Also, the type of weapon that Hector uses will alter the Innocent Devil's evolution. The Innocent Devils can be very useful for restoring life, aiding in battle, and gaining access to restricted areas. However, you never know what powers different evolutions will unlock, so it's hard to strategize while building up your Innocent Devil. They add a helpful element to the game, but hopefully they will be better executed if brought back in future installments. While the game supplies many hours of gameplay, it's not that difficult. Your fairy Innocent Devils can recharge your life frequently, and you rarely encounter enemies dangerous enough to kill you. The challenge in the game mostly lies in the time it takes to traverse the landscape and not in the combat or puzzles. Considering the epic story in Curse of Darkness, its areas are relatively bland. The castles look great, but overall the settings are so sprawling that they become repetitive. As you progress through the game and gain new powers, you'll be able to go back and unlock areas that were blocked to you before. Backtracking like this can get annoying when you run through the same hallways again and again.
You've been warned.
But environments in the game should please Castlevania fans because they make the gameplay feel similar to the original games. Your progression through room after room of enemies while smashing environment pieces for power-ups fits perfectly with the series. And as you run down each hallway, you should appreciate the game's score, which brings an appropriate level of upbeat action and gothic horror to the franchise built on both. Despite its shortcomings, fans of Castlevania should be satisfied with the Curse of Darkness. By taking what made its 2D incarnation so popular and bringing it into a 3-dimensional world, it accomplishes what its predecessors could not. If the new features had added more to the gameplay, Curse of Darkness could have stood among Castlevania's best.
I